Welcome, guys. I'm here about to make a recap of this lovely, amazing event, and I got to say that I was pleasantly surprised with what Brandon Moreno did, with how he won, and I'm gonna do the whole event recap one by one, just to do something very quickly. I need to do something very, very quickly, and that is going to be something really, really quick. And first of all, to say 9 out of 13, not bad. Not a bad card for me, but now I'm gonna say from the right of the bat, Koshche versus Mateta. I didn't expect Koshche to win this fight, especially after such a terrible performance, and especially after. Hey, nemoj da ulaziš, radim. Especially after such a terrible performance, and a terrible performance in the scales. I wasn't expecting Koshche to win this fight so easily, but he out wrestled Mike Mateta, and this was an easy way to go. Dominant performance by Orion Koshche. Now Nikolai Negumereanu destroyed Ihor Potieria. Now, when majority of my fans told that Ihor Potieria didn't have the real score, I said to myself, well, was it even true? Was it even amazing? But yeah, it was true. It was absolutely true that he did have the score and that his score was staged. I have to say his score was pretty much staged because we've seen brutal performance and brutal piece of work on the end of Nikolai Negumereanu. So Nikolai Negumereanu was the parlay that brought me pretty much a lot of money. And now the next fight, we had the situation of Jocelyn Edwards versus Jiyeon Kim. Unfortunately, Jocelyn Edwards won that fight despite she missed the scale. I played fight go over 2.5 or go the distance, and Jocelyn Edwards, she won round one and she won round three. But it seems judges saw Edwards as a winner. I actually scored it in the favor of Jiyeon Kim, but again, I am not the judge. Maybe this was fair, maybe this was unfair. I don't know what to say, honestly. Can't call it a robbery, though. Then we had the situation of Morales versus Fujit. Morales scored a lovely knockout, and we've seen a great stoppage, a really great stoppage on the end of Morales. Hence, I thought Fujit was gonna fight until the last dying breath. We've seen on the end of Fujit. We've seen good performance in the first two rounds, and we've seen some good application of his Muay Thai, but Muay Thai simply wasn't enough against solid and a great all-around fighter like Morales. Then we had the situation of Klose versus Garcia, where I predicted extremely boring fight and a boring decision win for Drakkar Klose. Unfortunately, it happened that way. It was a boring decision win, and unfortunately, I have to say this didn't go well. I was pretty much sad when I've seen what happened, but that's the way. That's the way it goes, you know. That's the way it goes. That's how the fight played out, and I'm eager to say that sometimes you simply have to swallow those hard pills, and this was a hard pill for me to swallow. Pretty much boring performance of Drakkar Klose. Pretty much he tried to out wrestle his opponent, and it came to fruition. It really came to fruition. Great wrestling. Mace versus Abdul Wahab. I picked no distance, but I fucked myself up. People were pretty much high on Don'Tale Mace. I didn't expect Don'Tale Mace to win that fight pretty much easily, but what I've seen on the end of Don'Tale Mace is the fact that he really didn't look good against his Egyptian opponent. He had few rocks. There were few head rocks on the end of Don'Tale Mace. There were also head rocks on the end of the Egyptian fighter Abdul Wahab, but Mace was moving better, but Abdul Wahab showed greater level of toughness. Then we had Dolber versus Alves. What a great fight. I think this was the candidate for the fight of the night. This is one of rare cards where you had body shot knockdowns and body shot knockouts, and body shot stoppages are pretty much rare, especially in this world, and that's something we ain't got used to. We ain't got used to seeing or hearing, but you must be aware that UFC is changing. UFC is changing rapidly. This is one of the fastest growing sports in the world, and you must accept that fact. And we've seen that Drew Dober stopped his opponent via punch to the body in round three. Until then, it was a great fight. I've seen Semi Tojadi winning the fight over Morono, but judges scored it other way around. They thought that Morono did more, and Morano had more clean strikes, so that's why judges scored it into his favor. I was 6 out of 8 on the preliminary card, pretty much not bad after all, and Ankalaev pretty much easily defeated Smith. I was expecting a boring decision fight in the end of Magomed Ankalaev, but he hooked on the back of his opponent in round two, sorry, and he destroyed his opponent pretty much easily. It was a great demolition magician on his end. Now Ankalaev is going to stay in the title contention. He is very close to the title, and whoever fights Ankalaev is going to have a very much of a hard time. Alejandro Pantoja is the most pleasant surprise of the whole card, if you ask me. This is the most pleasant surprise of the whole card. He hooped on the back of Alex Perez and pretty much destroyed him very, very easily via that rear naked choke. He sank that rear naked choke out of the standing body triangle. It was a brutal, brutal body triangle situation where his opponent was pretty much unable to slip out of it. And then we had Lewis versus Pavlovich. I think this is the knockout of the night. I think the knockout between Lewis and Pavlovich is definitely deserving the knockout of the night bonus, because we've seen Demolition Magician on the end of Derek. Seen Demolition Magician on the end of Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis really did a wonderful, wonderful job and a wonderful performance in our dreams, of course. Sergey Pavlovich, what a Demolition Magician, what a knockout in the end of Sergey Pavlovich. That's one of the best knockouts I've ever seen in my whole life. What a great stoppage by Sergey Pavlovich. He smelled blood instantly and destroyed Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis won't be fighting much after this event. I think we won't be seeing much of Derek Lewis. I don't know, maybe he's going to start dropping, maybe he's going to start downgrading right now, maybe... I don't see Derek Lewis bouncing back in the top 5 after that loss, especially because he is riding on a 2-fight losing streak, and this was a terrible performance by him. Then Kara France versus Brandon Moreno. I was pretty much wrong about this fight, as I said it's either going to be a Brandon Moreno via decision, or it's either going to be Kara France via stoppage. But Brandon Moreno was having different and great tactics heading into that fight, and I've got to praise his tactics. Brandon Moreno really showcased some high-level skills and taught his opponent a lesson by showing him that he is not an easy target to deal with. And Moreno pretty much outlasted his opponent everywhere. He was so much better in every single aspect of the game, and we even have head rocks, and we were having TKOs. That was a great TKO win. Moreno bounced back, man. I think Moreno also agreed to fight with Davison Figueiredo. That we are going to have their 4th fight, which is going to take place on the Brazilian soil. And Moreno was heavily cut. Moreno was very much heavily cut by Kara France. Kara France cut him open in round 3, but round 4 was just too much. And we've seen a great, great finish. We've seen a fabulous finish on the end of Brandon Moreno. He really proved that he still is a high-level opponent, and to be honest, Brandon Moreno is definitely one of the best fighters right now. I think he's going to reclaim the belt. We got interim champ versus current reigning defending champ situation. But next fight is something I really want to discuss about. That's the clash between Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes, and this is the ultimate piece of interest for me. We've seen a very, very poor cardio on the end of Amanda Nunes in their first fight, but in the second fight, we've seen something completely different. We've seen a different type of a fighter. We've seen a different juice. And this fighter, this was not good old Amanda Nunes that was better pretty much easily. This version of Amanda Nunes was giving a hard time to everybody, and Amanda Nunes was cutting angles. She was running around the circles, and she was giving Juliana Pena a hard time. We've seen 4 head rocks and 4 knockdowns in the end of Amanda Nunes, so pretty much deserved win. We've seen that Amanda Nunes destroyed her opponent in every single aspect of the game. She completely switched strategy. In the first fight, she was brawling, but right now we haven't seen brawling on the end of Amanda Nunes. And Amanda Nunes really fought like the modified version of herself. That's something I've never seen from Amanda Nunes. She even held Juliana Pena on the ground. Juliana Pena attempted few arm bars, even once came close to finishing on a plata or an arm bar, but this didn't go well for her. And it didn't go well for her for 2 reasons. The first, Amanda Nunes was having great BJJ defense. That was the reason number one. And reason number two, man, what a great performance by Amanda Nunes. I mean, tactically, this fight was 10 out of 10 for her. I know fans might have thought it was a boring fight, but to me, this is one of the best tactical game plans, one of the best tactical changes in the history of all game plans that have ever happened in UFC. I got to say it was awesome. It really, really was awesome. And I got to say Amanda Nunes is back, and she is double division champ again. We will see whether she's going to be dethroned again, but great performance. Overall, great card. My score was 9 out of 13. Bets 2 out of 3. But I am plus, finally plus after 2 events in minus. After 2 massive losses, I finally won something. So I got to say I really enjoyed every single fight on this card. Let's hope for more cards like this. This pay-per-view, well, it was pretty much stacked, and I think fights were awesome. Catch you later, my lovely lads.